What's going on, ladies? How we doing? Coming to you live from my room. I'm going to be filming a video at the request of Jeanette, focusing on how do competitive eaters and the likes of what she posted, which is a lady called Suzie, who's actually a model and competitive eater as well. How do they put away so much food and not gain weight and still stay, sort of lean and not gain weight? Yeah. So what I've actually made is a nice graph and some nice info put on my whiteboard, which I'm going to show for you now. Okay. So, here we go. So understand that if you haven't actually checked it out yourself, this is Neela live in action here. This is her with one of her 10,000 calorie massive sundaes, and legit, she puts this whole thing away so quick. See, look at it go. Let's put some volume on it. I'll fast forward. See, she finished that in like 14 minutes.
It was 7 pounds.
Crazy.
10,000 calories.
And this dude here, which I'm going to show you now, this is Matt Stoney. So he's actually the #1 competitive eater in the world at the moment. He's 23, yeah, and absolute machine, absolutely crazy. So if I zoom out here, let's watch him smash all these. Pardon that yellow light, that's obviously the light in my room. And there he is, he's eaten 25 Big Macs in 22 minutes. Crazy! So, time to get into the knowledge part of it. So, as you can see here, I've got a cool graph, okay? So, understand that when it comes to, say, for example, Neela, okay, she weighs about 50 kgs, and she's a model and competitive eater, okay? Matt Stoney, he weighs less than 60 kgs, okay? And he's 23, which is absolutely crazy, yeah? So these guys regularly consume 15,000 calorie meals plus on a very regular basis, yeah. But what you got to understand is that outside of this, they have, as you can see here, a strict eating regime and a training plan outside of the challenges that they do to keep their weight down, okay. And obviously the name of the game for them is increasing their stomach capacity at the same time. So what they do are things like the Michael Phelps challenge, which, if you aren't aware, he's like a really good Olympic swimmer, okay, and one of the challenges that they do is the 12.5k calorie Michael Phelps challenge to make sure that their stomach capacity is staying strong, okay. So to give you some insight, let's look at this graph here, okay. So this represents a couple of things, okay. The red is going to represent food intake, and the black is going to represent metabolic adaptation, okay, so your metabolism, okay. So there you go, and I'm going to show you what I mean here, okay? So let's look at first and foremost, like these guys, Matt Stoney, Neela Suzie, they're going to have their energy deficit, okay, their food intake. And relevant to that, their metabolism is going to be in check like this, okay, in sync. And then let's say, for example, that here they're at their massive surplus, okay? So let's say that their normal intake might be like, say, 1800, okay? See, 1800, and let's say that their surplus here, that their challenge was like 10k, okay, 10k. So what's going to happen here is that obviously they're going to have their intake, which will go straight to here, okay, and they're going to go right back to their normal deficit, which would be about 1800 as well. And then however long this period of time is in between, let's just say that, for example, they do one a month maybe in terms of challenges, and then this next one, let's say it's only 9k maybe, okay, 9k in terms of calories. So this represents the food intake, okay, and they go back towards 1800 again. What's going to happen in terms of their metabolism is it's going to go like this. It's going to go, oh shit, far out, and it's going to go to like here. But then rather than it dropping straight down, the metabolism is actually going to it's going to go like this, and then it's going to go probably like this or so, okay. So it's going to take a little while to get used to it, and then it's going to go like this again, and similar sort of deal here. It's going to get to about here, about there, about here, and then back to normal, okay? So how they actually do this without gaining weight is simply because they're aware of energy in versus energy out, and they're also aware of just what happens to the body when it's put under this sort of pressure. Yeah. So when it comes to, as you can see here, the black being the metabolism side of things, the body, gets to here, it's aware of what's going on, it's trying to adapt, but it takes a little bit longer of a time to, I guess, get it back towards where it was. Understand that they're obviously going to gain weight from doing this, okay? It's going to be water weight because the body's going to be in a state of, shock from all those extra calories that have been intaken. So obviously because the person is then going straight to their deficit again, okay? This means that they're going to, pretty quickly lose that water weight. In other words, they might look a little bit puffy, but they're not going to actually gain physical body fat. And then bazinga, they continue along, challenges in, play again, and the process repeats itself, okay? So hopefully what you gain the gist of there is that it all comes down to energy, basically, okay? Energy is key. Like these guys, they don't just focus on eating healthy outside of their challenges, neither do we. Remember that they're, like the terms being surplus and a deficit, okay? So when you're in a surplus, okay, if you're continually in a surplus, this is where you will gain, weight, okay? Especially if you don't know, the right sort of surplus. And me, for example, I'm putting myself in a surplus, but because it's spot on with what my targets are, it's going to minimize fat gain but promote muscle gain through how I'm training and stuff, yeah? Understand that when you're in a deficit, okay, and it's controlled like what this is, you cannot gain weight. The weight that you'll gain can only ever be water weight gain, okay, based on how the body reacts to digesting all the carbs or the fat or whatever, based on whatever the challenge was. But then think about this in real life as well, yeah, like if someone is having this sort of irregularity with their, with their intake, where they've got, their heavy restriction and they've got a big binge on the weekend, they go back to normal and whatever. If this continues to happen, but on a far more regular basis and say once a month or so, like what these guys do, this is where you can imagine, a bit of a binge and restrict cycle. This is where you will actually start to gain body fat because you're consistently putting yourself in a surplus, yeah? So these guys nail it. They're aware of, the similar sort of stuff that I teach you guys. If any of you wanted to become competitive eaters, well, hey, like we could still get you lean while being able to compete in challenges. If I wanted to compete in challenges, I could still do the same. But these guys as well, remember that they actually train their stomachs to increase in size. So when they know that they've got a challenge coming up, they strategically increase their intake. And just like the Michael Phelps challenge, things like that, yeah. So it always comes down to goal relevance. Whatever your goals are, we want to make sure that we're eating in line with it, and we want to make sure that consistency as well. So if these guys didn't have these sort of goals in relation to competitive eating and stuff like that, they wouldn't be having these sort of crazy surpluses and stuff, yeah. But obviously they do, so therefore that's how their lifestyle sort of looks. But any normal person that is just having these crazy intakes all over the shop, this is going to put you into a negative relationship with food. It screams too much inconsistency within your body, and therefore, minimal / no progress at all, okay? But after you've watched this, if you've got any questions, especially you, Jeanette, as well, post below, okay? If I can give you any more clarity, I'd love to. But hope that you got lots of value out of this video. Catch you guys later. Peace.